All right, this is Deck Text by Josh. Hope you enjoy listening to this. At least one person's going to hear it, and that's probably just going to be Rachel. I'm going to walk through the deck that I took to Toronto Regionals and day two with. And I'm also going to talk about it, why I like it, but also why I'm taking it to Vancouver. I'm playing Ceruledge EX. Ceruledge EX has 270 HP. That's a stage 1, so unlike some of the stage 2s that are out there, I don't have to play rare candy to jump through hoops to get to it. It has 2 attacks. One is you can only actually do the one, which is the Abyssal Flames, which does 30 damage base and then 20 damage for each energy in a discard pile. Notably, it doesn't specify that it has to be basic energy. So your jet energies count, your legacy energies count, basically just energies in general. So for this list, I play 3 of the Ceruledge EX, and I play 4 of the Charcadet, which it evolves up to. I found this has been more than good enough because usually I'm only trying to make 2 or 3, and I've got 3 Night Stretchers in here, so reliably getting them back after they get knocked out with a Night Stretcher, isn't been a challenge. So why this deck? I like this deck for a couple of reasons. One is that it can hit for a really high damage cap. So it runs 18 energy in the list total, which means that you can, in theory, in a perfect world, you could have one in play, 17 in your discard, and hit for just absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage. So it would be 370. So you can kind of one-shot pretty much anything. The other benefit of this is that your Char Cadets are just a basic. I would only give it 1 prize, which means that you can make a whole field of Char Cadets, have them all kind of ready to go, and on the turn that you're ready to take a knockout, evolve up to Ceruledge, so you don't have to sort of put a 2 prizer in play until you're ready to take that knockout. Then you sort of lead with letting your opponent take a 1 prizer, you take 3 2 prize knockouts after that, and just kind of cruise on the prize trade. Also, 270 is a really weird number for a lot of decks to hit, so Blood Moon and Ceruledge doesn't clearly answer it. They need to have other booster effects to kind of get there, and a lot of decks struggle to kind of hit the 270 reliably without kind of having to do things where they give you an extra prize or kind of with a Dusclops or something like that. So Ceruledge just feels like a really fun choice into it. It's very fast. It has a very aggressive start. Because we're trying to put as many energy in our discard as we can, we are burning through our deck. We're trying to get down as low as possible. So oftentimes if I go first with this, I've had hands where I see 30 plus cards to start my game off and work with a deck of 20 cards the rest of the game. And it's really hard for somebody either Iono or Unfair Stamp me after that because I've burned through so much of my deck that the normal hand disruption doesn't do as much against me as it would otherwise. But no, so really strong, really powerful card. Love it. It's also coming in a secret rare in the new one, so I'm excited for that. So we'll take a look at that guy. So we've got 3 Ceruledge. We've got 4 little Firechild Pokemon Charcadet. He's 70 HP is the one we play. We played the one with the Will-O-Wisp 20 damage. He's not normally attacking as a basic, so it doesn't seem to really matter. I do like having the 1 retreat over some of the other ones just so that you've got that option to be able to run away. I think everything in the deck outside of the Ceruledge EX is a 1 retreat cost, so very easy to get out of the act if you need to be, but pretty solid. As far as the obvious, we have a recovery card with 1 Serendipity. We have 1 Manaphy, which I added after the Toronto Regionals. I wish I had this for the Regionals because I found a lot of what happened was I was very susceptible to getting bench sniped. So I would set up a bunch of Char Cadets, and then my opponent would Greninja me, to kill 2, or Kyurem in the Regidrago matchup to blow out my deck. This is a really nice include. It's a nice sort of thing to have, and I think it's something that as I want to set up with this deck more, it just becomes more and more relevant to keep it in place. That being said, I don't feel the need to run multiples of them because, again, we've got 3 Night Stretchers. We have the ability to get it back if we really want to. And because we play a bunch of Nest Balls, a bunch of Ultra Balls, it's very findable when we need it. Squawkabilly. So this card's amazing when you go first, less so later in game when you're leaving a 1 prizer on your bench or 2 prize on your bench to get sniped out. But he's a necessity. You kind of got to have him. You could live without him, but I'd prefer not to. Greninja, super clutch. I always hate seeing this one of my prizes because I really want him for the early game to be able to get that card draw, get that advantage, be able to get things to my discard really effectively as possible while still gaining me cards for doing so. Spirit Tomb, largely for the Charizard matchup. It's really good starting off of Rotom V, really good at stopping Lumineon. It's a card that I don't super love, but it has a home. I'm at 18 energy right now, which it feels like a little light for me. I might want to go back up to 19. If I do, it's probably the Spirit Tomb that becomes just a basic fire energy to kind of accommodate for that, but we'll see how that goes. Rodon B, my little buddy with the dead eyes, dead inside. He is super awesome. He has no use for your fan call ability. The nice thing is that you can use it to check your deck on the first turn before you make your decision and see where you want to pass to. What he's really good at is he's good for killing Mimikyus. So we play 3 stadiums in this deck, and at the Jet Energy we can have him on our bench. Jet Energy to Rotom, Rotom goes to active, and then punches for 70 because we got a stadium, and takes cheeky little knockouts. It's also really good in the matches where my opponents choose to go first, and then especially in something like Charmander or like the Dragapult matches, so then you just set up a Dreepy or set up a Charmander or Pidgey. His ability to punch for 70 can randomly knock out Charmanders, knock out Pidgeys, knock out Dreepies, and make it so that they then have to either reset up or just have to take this guy out because he can kind of keep pressuring down other things. So good all-around all-star. Also, he's one of those ones where he's not a bad Pokemon to start with, and if we start with him, he gives us that ability to really use our nest balls to find things like our Squawk, because oftentimes we have a small-ish kind of basic Pokemon, and it's nice to have something guaranteed that's not problematic to get rid of later on, to just make choices. And Carmine. So we are playing onto the supporter line. So we were playing 4 Carmine. The only reason we were playing Carmine, not Professor's Research, is because Carmine you can play turn 1, which is awesome. Other than that, it discards our hand, draws 5 cards. It's just another way to grind through our deck. We just want to see as many cards as possible, and having 4 Carmine between our Squawk abilities, our Radiant Greninjas, and all of our abilities to sort of sequence our draws for the first little bit, makes Carmine a really solid choice. And we also run, for the same reason, 2 Professor Research, basically the better version of Carmine, but we can play this on turn 2 onwards, so that's always nice. 2 Boss's Orders to be able to take the knockouts when we need to take them. We also have 1 Briar, because sometimes we're going to get into prize trades where we really need to have that extra knockout, and this card's been instrumental in that. So card that is dead a lot of the times, but when it matters a lot, and it's definitely worth the include. It was responsible for maybe making day 2 because we went to final turn of time, and Briar was what got me there. So Briar, you get to stay. 1 of Judge, just for a little disruption. I also find that it's nice to be able to shuffle my hand back in, because sometimes I get very low and worry about decking out a little bit. So this is a nice inclusion. I don't know if I found it's been strictly necessary for me. A 3rd Research might be better, but I do like the flexibility of this card as one of. And I hate this card, but we play 2 of them because Pokemon Catcher occasionally just gets there. So sometimes you need to be able to do a Research and a Boss on the same turn, and Pokemon Catcher kind of lets you give it a shot. So not much to say about that, but win coin flips. We're also playing the 1 POW Pad. POW Pad's there primarily to recur things like Boss's Orders or to get back a Briar. This deck is very aggressive, so it's very likely that you're going to burn through resources that you want to have, and being able to play the POW Pad to get them back, especially in the late game, is really relevant. So even though it's not an ideal card to play because it doesn't do anything on its own, just recurs its resources, it's a necessity in this, given how much we're going to be researching and squawking and ultra balling away things that we need for late game. This helps us, get them back. Speaking of awesome all-star cards, we've got 3 Night Stretcher. These are amazing. So they either get us back, our Ceruledge when it gets knocked out, gets us back in energy if we need it, gets us a fair bit of just variety of stuff. Allows us to recur our mana fees if needed. It allows us to get back Fez if we discard it early. Just an all-star all around. I'd play 4, but I can't seem to find a 4th slot for it that it makes sense. So we are on 3. And then we've got 3 Nest Ball. We're using these to find our key stuff when we start off. So we're looking, this normally gets us a Squawk ability, normally gets us Greninja, our odds and ends when we need it. Just a, Nest Ball, you love it. It's a good card. And then we've got 4 Ultra Balls. Why 4 Ultra Balls? Because we really, really need to find our Ceruledge EX, and this is the only way to find it that's not just a hard draw or a Night Stretcher to bring it back. Additionally, we want to be discarding cards, so we're okay to rip through our hand and do, and recover him. So that's easy enough. And also, we've got 3 Earthen Vessels. So some lists are running 4. I found that 3 felt like a nice fit for me. I found that anything more than 3 often felt redundant because you actually will run out of energy to discard to it. But yeah, it's basically a way to feed or discard the energy. A lot of times your line of play is discard a card, go grab 2 energy, and then wheel that 2 energy away with the Professor's Research. So taking the 2 energy out of your hand before you research, before you Carmine, means that you're less likely to hit those dead draws, and just a phenomenal card all around. Also got 2 Pokemon Pokestops. They're a little risky with the Legacy Energy we're running in here, but they're really good at feeding up your deck. And most of the time when you're stopping, at a certain point, you know what you're looking for, and you don't really kind of need much else. We do have 1 Pokemon Jamming Tower, really good against Gardevoir, because they'll load up their damage with their little like capes of protection, and then you'll play this, and the effect ends, and then their guys just get knocked out, so you can kind of get caught up on the prize trade. Also good against the Forest Seal Stone and a few other odds and ends, but just a nice card to have. And we get to our ace spec. We play 1 Legacy Energy. So basically, if a Pokemon attached to the Legacy Energy gets knocked out, your opponent takes 1 fewer prizes. This only works for attacks that do damage, so it does not protect you against poison. It does not protect you against knockout effects and things like that. So it has limited uses, but it's kind of the best ace spec. I tried Brilliant Blender and just found that it wasn't as effective as I want it to be, and Legacy Energy feels like the nicest fit in it. Also, we're running 3 Jet Energy to round it out. Jet Energy has been great. It's a way of sort of like getting our stuff to the active, and because all of our stuff is a 1 retreat cost outside of our Ceruledge attackers, being able to Jet Energy one of our Pokemon, move it to active, full retreat it with that has been really relevant. Also, just the ability to make that play, do the retreat, even if we don't need to get our guy out of the active, and get an extra energy in your discard has often been clutch in games when they're close. So like that extra 20, by just doing an energy attachment return and retreating it feels really good a lot of times. And then we just have a whole bunch of basic fire energy to power you up. But yeah, so that is Ceruledge EX. I think it's a great deck. I like it because it is a 1 prize, deck that presents a 1 prizer as its attacker to kind of get you started and goes up to a 2 prizer later on. Hard to knock out, very fast, very aggressive, can really put a tempo play into your opponent when they think they have more time. And yeah, I find it's been just a really fun deck. I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to getting the secret rare zone. My wallet's gonna hate it. And yeah, that is Ceruledge EX.